Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to the Dice Tower. Today is December 11th, 2017. Wow, has the year flown by. Woo! And 2 days is my wife's birthday. She will be the meaning of life old, which I guess for some people is like, oh, they don't want to know how old they are. Me and my wife have never really cared about it. If people knew how old we were, it's not that big of a deal. Our kids already are calling us old. We're not, of course, but that's what they say. So last week I didn't do a live Q&A because we were on a cruise last week, but I'm back. So if you guys have any questions or anything, go ahead and ask them in the comments, and I will answer as many of them as I can and wish to. Of course, we don't answer every question here. If asking the same question over and over does not necessarily, well, will almost guarantee me not answering it. And if I don't answer your question, I apologize, but I try to answer a lot of them. So I'm going to wait for some questions, and then we'll get started here. Sound is a little low. Oh, all right, well, we can fix that. Those dials in the back of the camera, just turn them up a little bit, both of them, so that the dot's pointing at the top. Wait, never mind. People are saying sound is good. Okay, never mind. Okay, here we go. Okay, so, Tom, do dice on the floor count? No, never. When I'm playing a game, we never count dice on the floor, or I never do. If it falls on the floor, too bad. It has to be re-rolled. And in fact, if you're rolling like a pair of dice and one falls on the floor, you got to re-roll both of them, I think. That just seems, I don't know, there's no good reason for that. It just makes sense to me. Did I see any creatures in the ocean during my cruise? Well, we went on a excursion, and we went in like what's called a semi-sub, me and my family, where you're sitting underneath the surface of the water, and there's windows so you can see stuff, and they took us by the barrier reef at Cozumel, and we saw a lot of cool fish. We saw some stingrays, so that was pretty neat. Thoughts about the upcoming Betrayal Legacy? I think it sounds fantastic. That's a game with a really strong theme, so I really hope that theme comes through in that. It just seems really neat. Tom, do you ever write your name on the inside of a game box, or do you ever mark them as yours? Yeah, there's a lot of games I have that when I take them to like the Dice Tower Cruise, Dice Tower Con, I like to get them back, so I just write "Stolen from Tom Vasel" on the cover. And then sometimes I get rid of games that say "Stolen from Tom Vasel," so some people out there actually have a game that says "Stolen from Tom Vasel," but actually wasn't. What's the game you played the most on the cruise? Well, fancy you asking that. It's actually this one, Cursed Court. You'll see a review of this one coming up tomorrow. I'm in the middle of reviewing it, which is why these poker chips are all over the place. Dino Island, did you not get the deluxe version? I didn't. But that's okay. I usually tell publishers when they're sending me a game to send me the not deluxe version, because that way I can tell people what it's like if you're going to go out to the store and buy the game. If I really like it, I might go out of my way to get the deluxe version in the future. I do like them. But I don't think it's important. Like sometimes a Kickstarter publisher will send me the game, and they'll send me the expansions, and they'll send me promo cards, and none of that means anything to us, really. That's not going to make us like the game anymore, because we have to review it based on what people can actually get. Did I do skeet shooting off the ship? No. No. Is it worth it to sell an organ to buy Gloomhaven from Amazon? It is not worth it to sell an organ to buy anything, I think. I haven't seen Rob Orr on the Board Game Breakfast or Throat Punch Lunch in a while. Has anything happened to Rob? No, I think he's very busy with his own channel. As far as I know, that's what's going on. When can we expect the top 10 games of 2017? This week. But when? Keep an eye out. Brent says we had a great time on the cruise. What a blast. Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad you had a good time on the cruise as well. Dino Island, best player count? Probably 4. 5 is a little too many, and the board also takes up a huge amount of room. 3 is okay. 3 works too, but 3 or 4, I guess I would say. Have you ever tried VR? I did once when I went to PAX. I played some game where I was shooting robots. And it was really cool. Like I was like spinning in circles and shooting at robots and looking up. I thought it was really fun, and the time went by really fast. I had a little demo of it. That's it. We missed out on the Z Meeple on the cruise. The Z Meeple. I don't actually know what that is. What are your thoughts on the new Larry Harris game, War Room? Well, it looks really cool. I am a little concerned that it might be too big. It's almost as if he went into this saying, you thought Axis and Allies was big, this one's bigger. And it looks like a game that I'd be like, ooh, and I play it once and that's it. I hope it's good. How will it be different than Axis and Allies? We'll have to wait and see. What is my favorite die? Is probably my 5-sided dice. I really like them for some reason. Fear of Dracula is getting a reprint. Any idea if this is a reprint of the 3rd edition or they make changes to the game? I feel pretty confident they're going to make changes, at least in the way it looks, because the 3rd edition was from Fantasy Flight and the new edition is from WizKids. So I doubt it's just the same thing with another logo put on it. Burke's Gambit is on sale at Cool Stuff for $10. Is it different enough from Good Cop, Bad Cop to warrant the purchase? I think it might be. It's a pretty good game. And $10 is pretty good for that one. Notice you started calling it Kickstarter instead of the more generic crowdfunding. Is this a conscious decision? Suzanne still calls it crowdfunding. Yeah, we might call it crowdfunding at some point again. I just started calling it Kickstarter because when I was doing my crowd surfing show where I went to Kickstarter Indiegogo, I kept going to Indiegogo and not finding any games. So it seemed like it was just a waste of my time. Just easier to call it Kickstarter. What was the highlights of the cruise? Well, there was a lot of highlights. I had dinner every night was always a highlight for me. I got to play games with a lot of people. I tried to go around and play games with as many different people as I possibly could. All 3 of our shows went really well. I really didn't have too many problems. I mean, it was a very stressful beginning. The setup was stressful to get ready for everybody to come on. It was also stressful, you know, the very first full day of the cruise, Sunday, there was a lot of things going on. I was doing a renewal of vows, and I did the Sunday morning worship service, and then we had our live show that day and a formal dinner, and it just was a really, really long day, but it was still fun. I had a good time. It just was funny as everyone was getting off the cruise. Everyone was like, oh, it was so relaxing. I was like, yeah, kind of. I don't know that me and Jason were as relaxed as everybody else, but that's okay. I was still very happy with the whole thing, and I was able to relax a little bit when I got back Thursday and went through my 1,000 emails. How about rolling a die and it's leaning on its side of the board or a pile of cards? That's a reroll. A cocked die is always a reroll. What game did you hate the most that was released this year? Well, there's a lot of options for that one. Every year I think about, I'll make a list of my top 10 worst games of the year, but that just seems mean. We're already kind of beating up on those games in the review. Is there a reason to drag them in? I don't think I'm going to do that. Any updates or thoughts on the Fireball Island reboot? I know they're still working on it. I know that I'm going to see a copy of it at some point, pre-production copy, but the owner of Restoration Games is in my game group, so not too difficult there. But I'm really excited about it. Really excited about it. What attributes make a good board game teacher? Keeping people's interest, maybe? What are your thoughts on Craig and Jeff Van Ness's Soaring Rhino first game Shifting Realms? Well, again, people keep asking me about what are my comments on Kickstarter games. I'm just going by what it looks like. It looks interesting. It looks like it enters that whole, you know, player versus player arena. The Shifting Realms idea is interesting, though. We'll have to wait and see, though. I haven't played Fallout yet, sorry. How would Tom recommend obtaining games that have not ever or have not yet been published in the U.S.? Well, I'd go to Board Game Geek first, I guess, because I know there's like a used market there. I look on eBay, Amazon.de if you want something from Germany. I don't really care too much about that normally because there's so many games. I'm assuming you're from the U.S. Yes, you are. The U.S., we really have more games than anyone else in the world does. We're really fortunate and blessed in that regard, so I don't really worry too much about hunting them down overseas. But if you do, BGG. I noticed you didn't play in the panel games, assuming you listed the answers. Yeah, I did. Is there any way you could switch who sorts the data so you could play too? I guess. I like running game shows a lot. I could play on one, I guess, but they're just so much fun for me to run. If you notice at a game show, I'm barely involved actually these days. I just set it up, I let Eric do the announcing and everything, and then let the game just happen. That's kind of what I would like to do. I don't need to be in the forefront of those things, but I just like putting them together. Would you like a Marvel Legendary Legacy game? Oh man, I don't know. Marvel Legendary already has a gazillion things going. I mean, like combinations as it is. I don't think it needs to be Legacy. For stocking stuffers, dice towers or dice trays? I think a tower would fit in a stocking easier than the tray would. What was the planned purpose of buying Manny other than pranking each other in the office? Buying? You can't buy a person. That's kind of a... What? Where are you from? You can't buy humans. I don't believe in human trafficking. Saddens me. Any more Dice Tower Essentials in the pipeline? Yes, but I'm not announcing them yet until I know for sure when they're coming out. Hey, I'm planning to come on a cruise next year with 2 friends. Is there an option for a 3-person room? Yeah, you can get 3 people in a room. Oh, I don't know. You can get 3 people in a room if one of them's a kid. I don't know if you can get 3 people in a room other than that. You'd have to ask Jason. But I'll tell you this. When we do announce it, you better sign up quickly because we made it available to the people who already went on the cruise, and I think 2/3 are gone already. I didn't expect them to go that quickly. Actually, there's no cruise next year anyway. It's going to be in February 2019, which is kind of a year away anyway. But you're not counting that Catan VR as VR. Well, I didn't do it. Eric and Jason went and did it. I didn't even see it. If you could go to only one of these 2 conventions in 2018, would you go to PAX Unplugged or Origins? Well, that's actually a tough question. If someone's asking this question right now, I think I would say, which one do you live closer to? If you live closer to Columbus or you live closer to Philly. They're both very, very good conventions. There's a lot of fun to be had at both of them. Origins is more structured, so if you like that structure with the pay-to-play type thing, I mean, some people hate pay-to-play, some people like it because it means when you go somewhere, you're going to have opponents. So if you like the pay-to-play, Origins. If you like the just go in game, then probably PAX. But other than that, there's really good things to recommend about both of them. Any updates on Critical Mass and the Dice Tower Essentials lines? It's coming sooner rather than later, but I don't have an exact date. Throw Punch Lunch Jay says 15 pieces of game room flair is the absolute minimum. What's your favorite game room decorations? Usually my posters. I have posters up. I don't have any posters in here because this is a studio, not my game room. But I do like having posters up and around. Have you played or will be reviewing Dice Throne? Yes. This week, actually, my review is coming of it. In fact, I think that's the next... No, it's not the next game I'm going to review. But it's coming up soon. How can we send you a Christmas card? Well, if you really want to send me a Christmas card, email me. I'll send you my address, and you can send me a Christmas card. But you don't feel like you have to. Do you think Fantasy Flight Games will redesign Descent into a 3rd edition anytime soon? That's a curious question. I don't know what their goal is with Descent. They've definitely been phasing out their physical product for it. It's been a long time. Since there haven't been any physical releases in 1.5 years, has it been that long? Yeah, I wonder if they got something else up their sleeves. I know that they're really trying to get people to play the board game version of it. That's Terranoth universe. They're pushing it. The thing about Terranoth is it's an interesting universe to some degree, but the fact is it's like just a tiny sidestep from, you know, any of the D&D universes, really. There's not really that much of a difference in it. There's nothing I'm like, oh, if I heard it, that's Terranoth. Really, there isn't. Like we're playing the Dragonholt games right now, and they're very fun. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know when I'm playing them. If you said this is in a D&D world, I go, oh, okay. I wouldn't know that it's the Terranoth universe. If Phase 10 were a person, who would it be? I don't know, but they're probably in the morgue. Have you put your Christmas tree up yet? Oh yeah, we put up a Christmas tree the day after Thanksgiving. Black Friday is Green Christmas Tree Day. Have you thought about designing another game? Yeah, I've thought about it. What's an easy way to find out when games are available in retail? Go to your local store and see. There really isn't much of a better way. There's games, they show up in different spots. For me, when I want to know if a game's out, I just look at cool stuff, what games were released today. That's how I tell. That's when I tell a game is out. But sometimes they're out in retailer stores faster than that, sometimes slower. You know, so there's really no good way to do it. Did the dude come to the cruise? No, he was being punished. In your end of the year list, do you consider Rising Sun a 2017 game because of the charity release and your review? No, we're going to be considering Rising Sun a 2018 release. That's a good question, though. Top 10 games you want Restoration to do? Well, Fireball Island was my number one. Well, my number one is HeroScape, right? But I don't expect... Fireball Island was one I thought they had a chance at. HeroScape, if someone ever does HeroScape, you're going to hear a shriek of happiness coming from Homestead. You will hear it in your house, wherever you live in the world. But for the most part, Fireball Island was my number one. I don't even really have a close second one. There's a lot of games way back in the day that I liked, I guess, but this game is bonkers, maybe. There's a lot of good games, but Fireball Island, easy. Wait, they're rebooting Fireball Island? Yes, they are. It's coming out next year. It's going to be exciting. Do you have an easy gift idea that works with just about anyone? Yes, money. I found that giving money to people usually makes them happy. They don't get too upset. Gift cards are okay, but then it's like you're telling them where to shop. You're like, here, I know you like to eat out, and I know that you don't often eat at Olive Garden, but I'm going to give you an Olive Garden gift card because I'm going to decide where you're eating. Merry Christmas. Now, I jest. If someone gives me an Olive Garden gift card, and I've gotten more Olive Garden gift cards in my life than every other kind put together. Like, why does no one ever give out Red Lobster gift cards? But a gift card is fine. I give out gift cards myself, so there's that. I'm making fun of myself there, folks. But there's no easy gift that works with everyone, I don't think. What kind of starter equipment would I recommend to someone who's thinking about making video reviews, camera, mic, software? You know, I would start with your iPhone and see how you like doing it first. Put it together. Yeah, you might want to buy like an external mic for your iPhone or whatever your phone is. But honestly, you got to be really cautious. You don't want to put a lot of money into something that you're not going to get that involved with. You know, I used the cheapo camera for the longest time. In fact, I used the webcam on my laptop for a while, but then I graduated to a small, cheaper camera. Do you want to play Pandemic Legacy again? If yes, Season 1 or 2 or both? Well, I'm in the middle of playing Season 1 with my family, although that's been on hiatus for a long time. Season 2, I would rather play right now just because I like to win. How many times have you seen the new Star Wars this weekend? Well, at least once. Depends how good it is the first time. Have you ever asked Magic the Gathering people at cons how they randomize the cards that go into their packs? That's an interesting thing, no. I mean, I guess I could ask anybody who's done a collectible card game. How do you randomize the cards that go in packs? Has that ever been answered? It might be on the internet. Would you consider a post-cruise party next time? A number of us staying Thursday showed up at Cool Stuff. Oh man, I'd love to, but the fact is I really needed to get back to work. I came back and there was a lot of things we had to do on Thursday. You just said you're from the U.S. Oh, yes, you are. Can you see where we're from? No, but I saw that the question was asked in a way that sounded as if they were from the U.S. Tom is looking hip today. Lies! Will board game cafes still exist in the upcoming years, or will they start closing in 2018? Well, I'm not really kind of able to see the future like that, but I mean, I assume some board game cafes will close in 2018, but I assume more will open. If you were offered the chance to do a line of Dice Tower component upgrades or custom box inserts like Dice Tower Essentials, what would be your reaction? I would say, I'm listening. If I send you my game prototype, would you play it? Z said he wouldn't. Yes, I would not play your prototype. We do not take unsolicited prototypes. We almost never take solicited prototypes. And it's not because we don't want to play prototypes, although that actually is part of it. Because prototypes are just not as fun to play as published games. The fact is we don't even get all our published games played. If I did 2 reviews, I do about, let's see, 12 reviews a week or so? I do a lot of reviews. But let's just say I do 10 reviews a week on average. There's some weeks I don't get 12 done or whatever. So that means I'm doing 500 reviews a year. But we get way more than 500 games. We really do. It is impossible for us to review all the published games. Prototypes, we're just not going to do them. If Z Garcia was an animal, what would he be? I find it interesting that you used the word if. Top few games that would look good under blacklight? Definitely the original version of Nexus Ops. Is there a Dice Tower? Dice Tower we can buy? Hold on for a few weeks. Our Kickstarter is about to start. So keep an eye out for that. That's coming soon. I seem to remember that the last Dice Tower cruise hit rough waters at one point just as a show. Maybe the live show was happening. Yeah, there was a little bit of rocky weather the one night. Not rocky, but the boat was definitely moving more. But it wasn't really that bad for me anyway. I didn't notice it too much. What do you use to transport board games to convention and regular game nights? I use bags, the game canvas or whatever they're called. Canopy, game canopy. Tom, I'm moving soon to Florida. Any advice for packing games? Rubber band them as you pack them and bag everything inside them and you should be fine. Are you surprised about the reaction to your top 10 accessories videos, specifically lack of card sleeves, or did you know the OCD internet would be upset? Well, first of all, I was surprised by the reaction that many people watched it. So thank you very much. Secondly, a few people mentioned sleeves. Thirdly, I don't care. If you use sleeves, that's fine. I don't think people are that upset. Who cares? Sleeves are good for some people. We'd be doing a Best of Publishers Think Fun. I don't think so. Think Fun was mostly puzzles. I could do like a Best of Publishers Think Fun and it would be their puzzles at some point. I might. But the next series of videos is going to be Best of Designers. So that one is coming soonish. Probably we'll be starting that up in January. If you had to choose one of your board game shelving units to collapse, dropping all the game boxes on it to the floor, which game shelf would cause the least damage or headache? One of the shelves that I have all my games that would be to be reviewed on it, because I wouldn't care about the order of them. Why are the roads horrible in Florida? Do you mean traffic? Or do you mean like the quality of the roads? I don't know. I'm not really an expert on that. What's objectively better, a D8 or a D12? Well, nothing's objectively better, but a D12 is an amazing die because it rolls so much better. D8s do not roll well. In fact, I'd rather roll a D6 than a D8. But D12s roll amazing. D12s are probably my favorite of the normal sized dice. Who wins the most between you, Sam, and Z? Maybe Sam? Stats from the cruise. Most played game, least played, and most ice cream consumed by Z. Actually, I don't know who ate the most ice cream. But most played game, I don't know. I would guess Century, Spice Road, / Golem. I saw those being played a lot. All the stuff from Essen. Man, oh man. I brought like 50 games to the cruise, you know, like from my personal collection or a lot of the Essen stuff. And then the library brought another, 300 games in. And I'm guessing that the games I brought were played more than the other ones. There was a lot of hot Essen stuff being played. Do you think some people will prefer Deadman's Doubloons over Jamaica? Well, of course. I mean, that's kind of like saying, do you think some people would prefer blank to blank? I think anyone will always prefer something to something else. There's going to be someone who likes them better. And I think a lot of people will like Deadman's Doubloons. What snacks do you promote or prefer for board game nights? Well, I like having pretzels at my board game nights. I also like having cheese. Cheese is always a good thing to bring. I don't know why I just like board games. Crackers, maybe. The crackers are crumbly, but I always bring little bowls when I have a board game night. And then we got pretzels, cheese, crackers, vegetables. Vegetables are really good. Now that the cruise is over, I'm trying to eat incredibly healthy at this point in time. Kind of let myself go to some degree over the past few months, but that's over. There's no conventions in the future. Christmas doesn't really tempt me. I mean, Christmas candy, and maybe on Christmas Day and on New Year's Eve, I will eat, more whatever I feel like eating. But starting on, well, it's not been that long. I started, Saturday, Sunday, today, Monday. Yeah, that's not a very long time, but I'm on a straight and narrow, and I'm going to keep there. My wife's going to help me, and we're going to see if we can get this fat body down a little. I don't know what that's to do with. Okay, anyway. I just been introduced to Captain Sonar. Amazing game. Do you see more of this kind of game emerging in 2018? I don't know. These team versus team games are fun, but it's hard for them to get a big audience because you need a lot of people involved. I'd love to see more games like Captain Sonar, yes. Buzz is good for the new Star Wars from those who saw the premiere. Great, but let's not talk spoilers here. I know nothing about the movie other than the trailer, and I wish I hadn't watched that, but it is what it is. You guys played Legacy of Dragonholt, but I stopped watching because I didn't want to spoil anymore. Was it good? It looked good. It was fun. It was very linear, but I hear the next ones are not linear. We're going to actually be playing more, but we'll just say spoilers before we do them. When using Black Market, says Trevin, and this is talking about Dominion, do you actually take one card from each type or use the randomizer deck? No. I actually use one card of every type. If you open up my Dominion cards, they're all in decks of 9, and then I have one of every card in a big giant Black Market deck. I use that Black Market deck as my randomizer deck. I'll pull cards out of it and say, okay, these are the cards we'll play with. Although I play Dominion semi-randomly, which means I draw cards, and if I'm like, oh, we have too many 5-cost cards, I'll draw until I get some lower-cost ones. Or this one doesn't fit with these, or we drew too many attack cards, or we drew an attack card and we want a defense card out there, whatever. So it's semi-random. Then once I have those, I find the other 9 cards and put them on there. The rest of the randomizer deck becomes the Black Market deck, which happens to be one of the 10 cards I always pick if I'm playing at home. And then other than that, when we're done, I just take one card out of every deck, throw it back in, and I'm done. It's easy. And whenever I get blue cards in a new Dominion set, I just throw them right away. I heard Mark Herman and Jeff Engelstein are designing a game together. If you could pick 2 designers from different genres, who would you pick to work together? I don't know. I don't know that I have an answer to that. I think I would rather pick some designers who I really like, and I would love to see them get a developer who really develops their games well. I think that's what I would look for more than that. That's a good question, but I don't have an answer off the top of my head. What company is designing the best new games right now? That's a hard call, right? I mean, Fantasy Flight is always very strong with the games that they come out, as is Asmodee in general, but Asmodee has smaller companies underneath them that are putting out games. There's a lot of really good companies. I mean, Repos is on fire. Renegade is certainly really strong these days. They're just really putting out consistently good stuff. There's some things that are not always great from them. There's a game of theirs that I'll be reviewing next week I'm not a big fan of. But I want to say Renegade off the top of my head, but there's other companies that are doing great stuff too. Is Fallout going to get a review? Yes. I don't know when, though. Let's see here. Are you going to review Santa Maria or Pioneer Days or both? I think Santa Maria is going to be done by Z, or he already did it. And I don't know about Pioneer Days. Have I tried playing Fog of Love yet? No, but I looked at it. I haven't played it yet, though. What, if any, is your favorite Pentatonix track? Hark the Herald Angels Sing. And that's my favorite Christmas. Of their non-Christmas ones, is it Sing? Is that just the name of it? The Sing one? Sing, sing, sing. Yeah, that one, Sing. I like that one a lot. Na 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 na. Thoughts on publishers scared of going straight to retail? And scared is a negative word, so I would be very cautious on saying that. Thoughts on publishers scared of going straight to retail with $100 plus games when they thrive on Kickstarter. Example, Seventh Continent not coming to retail and Thunderstone Quest being a Kickstarter. You know, it's not easy for a $100 game to sell in retail. It's really difficult, right? It's easier in a Kickstarter. People are excited. There's that enthusiasm. They're buying it. But when you walk into a store, it's harder to sell these bigger cost games. Now, sometimes they do sell very well in stores. I can't explain it. You know, like TI4, from what I understand, is selling really well in stores, and I believe that's 120, or is that even in stores yet? But it will, right? I'm not in the position these companies are in. If I had a company and I had a big grandiose game like this, would I sell to retail? I don't know. I think everything's different. Monolith is not selling the Batman game to retail. Kumar not just announced that Hate, it's going to go to retailers, but they have to back the campaign when it goes. Maybe that's the best solution, is just have the retailers back the campaign. This whole idea of the game once and done, I was opposed to it at first, but I'm not so sure anymore. Because games don't necessarily have a long shelf life, so maybe you do just want to get the one and done. It's an interesting question. There's a lot of nuance to it and the different things that are happening, so we'll have to wait and see. I hate to ask this isn't a question you love, but will you guys be reviewing Anachrony? Anachrony is on my list of games to play and review. So I think when I get it, maybe I'll review it with Sam, because I know he's already played it. I have not played it yet, though. I know it's getting good buzz. How long do you think before we have a definitive pirate game? Well, I think Rum and Bones is a very definitive pirate game. I really like Rum and Bones. I also really like the new Pirate's Tale that came out at Essen. That's really fun. And Libertalia. That's a fun pirate game. There's a lot of good pirate games out there. I haven't played Pandemic Rising Tide, actually. Only Z has played it. Florida drivers are nuts, though. I think they originally come from New Jersey. I think everybody thinks that drivers from another state are either too crazy or too slow. Are you impressed with how well Jason managed a series of interviews with designers, and will there be more from Jason? Yes, in fact, he did another whole series of interviews at PAX. Not a lot of people watch those interviews as much, but he did a lot of them. Being in Fort Lauderdale for the couple days that I was sweating all day. How do you handle it? I just stay in places that are air conditioned. Let's see here. Can you tell something about how your days are planned? Do you have normal work times? How do you divide time between family and Dice Tower? Well, I mean, my days are different every day. I wake up and I slowly wake up. My wife gives me breakfast and I drink tea and wake up and answer some emails and do different various things. Once I'm awake, I say, what do I have to do this day? What's going on? I come over here to the studio and I start recording and getting things done, and I go home for dinner eventually, and then I spend some time with my family. It depends what night it is. Some nights are busier than others. Sometimes things are going on. So that is what I do. You want an exact schedule? I probably can't give that to you. Let's see here. How far am I behind anyway? Oh, I'm not too far behind. That's great. Where in Dice Tower headquarters would be the best place for a hidden trapdoor? If I told you, you would know where it was. Oh, this is a good question. I play with experienced gamers. How do you tell them you think they might have a rule wrong without making an issue of it? Would you want to know if you were playing a rule wrong? Yes, I'll gripe and moan. Like a good classic example of this, I played No Thanks wrong. Eric pointed out to me. I made a big fuss about it on the podcast, but it really doesn't bother me because I really do want to know if I'm playing a rule wrong. it's annoying when you find out you played a rule wrong for years. For experienced gamers, I don't know. I might say, I would always maybe come in the form of a question like, you know, the rules say this here, but you said it was this way. I don't really understand it. Maybe I'm wrong here. You know, come into that kind of thing, that kind of idea, and people will take it better, I think. Wait, you throw in the garbage the blue Dominion cards? Well, I toss them in the garbage. I don't necessarily throw them in. Let's see. Will you ever feature RPGs in the Dice Tower? Or have you already? We're going to do an RPG live playthrough, and I will have a date for that by next Board Game Breakfast, I hope. Do you actually watch TV on that giant screen behind you, or is it solely to serve as a backdrop for videos? It's mostly just for a backdrop for videos, although I have watched a little bit of Netflix on it at times when I was sorting out components and stuff in here. Do you think the plan to do the crossroad systems and other settings has been abandoned because of the success of Dead of Winter? No, I think just sometimes you change your focus on different things. And I would imagine that them being bought by F2Z and then ultimately by Asmodee changed a lot of their plans and how they do different things. Let's see here. Does the Daystar team do a Secret Santa? You mean amongst ourselves? I think some of them do, actually, but I don't. Will app integration bring back the old VCR game format? I don't. Well, maybe. That's an interesting idea. Do you plan live plays much in advance? Any more Tom vs. Melody Heroescape soon? I like to do that one. The problem with Heroescape is it takes so long to set up. But you might see live plays sooner than you think. In fact, if we get on schedule today, maybe you'll see a live play later today. If not, I got one scheduled for tomorrow. You have a segment with Sam, another with Jason, another with Melody. I haven't done the one with Jason for a while, though. He's just been so busy with work lately. What about a segment only with Z, since Miami Dice not always with Z? Yeah, that's true. I don't do a segment just with Z. But maybe someday. Maybe we're waiting on that one. Wait, you get breakfast in bed every day? I do not. Okay, I get up. I wake up and I get up and I do stuff, but I'm waking up. And my wife gives me, I eat a very small breakfast every day. I either eat a little bit of yogurt, some fruit and some cheese, or an egg and fruit. I think fruit's involved every day. Got to stay healthy. Chupa chupa choo. All right. I can buy Heroescape Rise of the Valkyrie for about $30? Really? You should. You'll have a lot of fun with just the base set. That's an easy $30 worth of game for sure. Let me run over here real quick and check on things. All right, people are talking trash about Florida drivers for whatever reason. Ooh, I'm catching up on questions. This is great. All right, people are afraid of coming to Florida? You should not be. You said tea. I think you meant coffee. No, I don't like coffee. I know that's always anathema for people. I really like tea a lot, though. I don't drink it much. See, the thing I think that separates tea drinkers from coffee drinkers is when I wake up in the morning, I like a cup of tea, and I drink a cup of tea, and that's fine. But in the middle of the day, I'm not like, tea. And I never, if I missed a tea for whatever reason, I never come in and go, until I get my tea, I'm ready to go. Coffee drinkers are crazy. Also, they pay exorbitant amounts Tea, you just gotta buy a tea bag. It's really easy. Coffee is just so much more work, and I just don't like the flavor of it that much. But it smells great, though. I'll give you that. Now, hot chocolate, that I can get behind, but hot chocolate is not quite so good for you. Tea, at least, I can drink tea is not really that bad for you. Do you feel Asmodee is getting a monopoly in board games? No, as far as I can tell, and this is probably the way it's going to be for many years, Hasbro has Monopoly. Parker Brothers is the company that originally made a Monopoly. Well, technically, it was originally made by a Quaker lady who the idea was stolen from and given to Parker Brothers. But Parker Brothers had the game, and then when Parker Brothers was bought out by Hasbro, they are the only people I know who make Monopoly. Although USAopoly, which has Opoly in the title, has made versions of Monopoly before. But I don't believe Asmodee has ever done anything with Monopoly, but I can't be for sure. Overseas, they may have done some Monopoly in Europe. I'm not sure. Can you say 2 + 2 is 4? Yeah, I could. I don't feel like it though. When out and about in malls and such, how often are you recognized approach? Very rarely. It happens occasionally, but it's a rare thing. I don't seek for people to come hunt me down. What's your favorite thing to do on a cruise? Hands down, my favorite thing to do on a cruise, grab some cookies, sit on the balcony with my wife. It's hands down my favorite thing. Just watch the ocean go by at night. I really like that. Or in the morning. There's a rumor that you keep a sandwich under your hat for emergencies. Can you dispel that rumor for us? Not today, but tomorrow I can dispel it. Do any of the girls, Vasel girls, are they afraid of Dude or Manny? I don't think they're afraid of them. They're good family friends. What's your favorite HeroScape character? Do you prefer heroes or squads? That's a really good question. I like a mix of heroes and squads. My favorite HeroScape character is Grud or Grok or Drock or Drud. He's actually in the. Did I do my favorite 10 HeroScape characters? I think I did. But the guy who takes more damage, the big troll-looking guy, the more damage he deals, I like him. Do you drink tea with your pinky out? I do not. I like to cup. I like to drink it holding the whole mug like this with 2 hands. Because it warms you. Even though I live in Florida and I don't need that warmth. But I got used to doing that because I used to live in colder weather, and when you have a cold day, you would just, oh, give me warmth. Give me that warmth tea. And so I still do that now. Hot chocolate, as Tom Hanks would say. You know, it's interesting because of the tea is saving money. It really does help when I travel and such. I don't need to ever stop at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. Let's see here. I got a question here from Isathel. He says, have the Dice Tower folks played Sid Reel Confluence by WizKids? The game got no promotion at all, but has been amazing as a negotiation game. My review of that is going up this week, so keep an eye out for that game. You might hear me mention it more than once. Let's see here. Have you asked Santa to bring any games for Christmas? I have not. I don't really ask for a lot for Christmas. I don't ask much for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. Well, what I want for Christmas, again, I don't really seek these things out. I told my family if they want to find things, just think about things I like. Hot sauce, socks, salsa, unique, interesting sauces in general, and spices. I like that sort of thing. Bath bombs. I don't know why I like them, but I do. Ties, I guess. I don't wear ties much anymore. things like that. I think the Monopoly question was not about the board game, but a Monopoly that only one company makes board games. No, there are many companies that make board games. When I went to, just going to PAX, there's hundreds of companies that make board games. There's not just one. What's your favorite type of candy? I have lots of different favorite types of candy. I'm kind of partial to those licorice flavored straws that are sour on the outside and have that white cream in the middle. What are those things called? I don't know. Eggs. Cadbury cream eggs. Yeah, those are good. Reese's peanut butter cups. How has gaming with your family evolved over the past, let's say, 5 years? Well, I originally was playing with a 12-year-old. Now I'm playing with a 17-year-old. Oh, but still a 12-year-old. But, you know, oh no, she's 13 now. Do I have a 12-year-old? I don't. I have an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old. It's different every year, the ages I have. Will you do a top 10 storytelling games? That will come in the future for sure. Will Miniatures G.I. Joe game ever be released? That'd be cool, wouldn't it? I like that too. Do you have an interesting story about being recognized when out and about? Interestingly enough, almost always when I'm recognized out and about anywhere, it's really close to a convention. Like when Z and I went to Grand Con, I met 2 people in the airport going to and from who were not going to Grand Con, but they recognized me. And when I was going to PAX, I met someone. While I was with Sam, we went to another convention, and someone recognized me on the way. It seems like that happens more often, really close. Now, to be fair, we're often going through airports and things like that. Or I'm in the city itself, and people are like, oh yeah, there's a convention going on in this city? Things like that. I met someone on a cruise ship who's like, is there a Dice Tower cruise going on? I was like, yes. Oh yeah, my pastor's son recognized me. He's a gamer, so. How would you handle a spouse not supporting gaming as a hobby? Not to convert them to a gamer, but to gain their acceptance at least. I think that's a deeper issue than just them accepting gaming as a hobby, right? If my wife didn't like any of my hobbies and said I'm not accepting of it, then that's something between me and my wife that we would then need to deal with differently. Because whatever the hobby is, unless the hobby is actually harmful or something, I would assume that acceptance would be there. I mean, if my wife she likes watching really stupid TV shows from Korea, and that's fine. I mean, that's one of her hobbies. You know, whatever. My kids have hobbies. My daughter colors in little pixelated things. I wouldn't do that myself, but that's what she likes to do. To not be accepting of a hobby seems a little odd. I actively promote to my kids. I want them to have a hobby, you know, whatever it might be. That's not watching TV necessarily, but. Looks like. Has it always been a dream of yours to do Dice Tower? It has not. The dream has come true, but it wasn't really something I thought much about in the early years for sure. Let's see, Monopoly, the RPG. What's the most funny April Fool's prank the Dice Tower crew ever did? I don't think we ever did. We have only done one, right? I think we did the top 10 obscure games or something like that. And in each of our lists, we posted one game that was completely made up and fake. And what was funny was it was almost too obscure. People watched the list and they talked about this and that, and very few people were like, is this game real? In fact, I had Board Game Geek in on a joke. We actually made up pages for those games, and people commented on whether they liked the game or not. So if you went and looked it up, you would see people talking about the game. I'm still pretty proud of that one, actually. Tom and I have completely different tastes when it comes to junk food. I can't stand licorice. Well, I'm not talking about the licorice flavor. I'm talking about the licorice stuff. Licorice flavor I'm ambivalent on. I'm talking like cherry licorice or something like that, and then with that white stuff in the middle. So good. You know what else I really like? Those raspberries, raspberry blackberries candies. I really like those. How are your frequent flyer miles looking? I don't know. I haven't looked at them for a while. Tom, you are being a troll today. What? I'm trolling? Sorry. What are some phenomenal games that you wouldn't really know because of their horrible box? Well, that's a really long list of games. So many games have bad boxes. Do you sometimes wish you'd be a gamer and not work in the game industry? Not really. It's fun to, I mean, I guess it would be fun to go to a convention and just go in there. I do miss sometimes that sense of wonder to walk around and be like, wow, wow. Because a lot of the stuff I already know about, so it's not so wow, wow, wow. Like when I went to PAX and I walked through the video games, I was like, oh, everything was interesting to me. I hadn't heard of anything. So I kind of missed that to some degree, but not much. It was strange to see 80 degrees in December last week. I wonder how Christmas feels to someone in the tropics away from snow and pine trees. So the songs seem like a dream? Not really, because I've lived through the snow. So I guess maybe to my kids they're a dream. But they're probably all going to move to snowy areas, and then they'll see how awful it is, and they'll move back. But yeah, Christmas Eve feels a little weird not being cold, but not too bad. I think candy in the U.S. and candy in Europe is also extremely different. Not tremendously like that. When I go by the candy stands in Europe, I got Essen or other places, and I see candy, or I went to the UK for candy. Sure, there's candy there that I didn't see in America, but there's also a lot of the same candy. If I gave you $1, would you smack Sam, or do you not mix business with pleasure? I would never smack anyone for any sort of money because I don't think that's a good idea. I played an April Fool's joke on Joe. Yeah, but that wasn't a Dice Tower. Someone asked what a joke on the Dice Tower crew. Have you watched Korean TV reality game shows in recent years? The Genius draws a lot from modern board games, and Crime Scene is basically a life-size deduction game. I've heard of both of these, and I would like to watch them. There's a lot of stuff I don't watch, you know, on any given basis. Raspberry, blackberry candies, you mean the gummy ones from Haribo? Well, no, they look like, they're basically gummy candies, but on the outside of them, they have a bunch of little nonpareils. So they look like actual little raspberry, blackberries, kind of. They're sold at almost any candy store I've ever seen. Like if you go buy jelly beans from one of those stores where you scoop out the jelly beans, they're always like right there. I just watched it last night. Now you have to tell us which games were fake. Wow, I don't remember what the... Okay, so for Z, it was Lice Shower, because it rhymes with Dice Tower. His was the easiest one to remember. I don't remember what the name of mine was. Mine was the Space Game. And I don't remember what Sam's was either. But yeah, there's 3 there that were definitely fake. Maybe maybe it's mentioned in the comments in the YouTube video. I'm not sure. No more candy, Tom. I gave it up along with soda. Oh, yeah, I know. I'm not eating candy now. People are asking me what my favorite candy is. I'm not eating it right now. When punching out cardboard components, which direction is the best? Oh, that's a good question. I think it's best to punch them out the rounded edge, I think, is what I would do, the edge that they were cut from. Sometimes I punch them out the other way. Hopefully that they're so easy you can just basically shake the board and they fall out. That's how things should be, right? It shouldn't matter which way you punch out the board. Yeah. Have you ever read Choose Your Own Adventure type books? Oh man, I read Choose Your Own Adventure all the time when I was a kid. I really liked those books. Actually, I'm playing a really fun game on iPad now, which is basically a Choose Your Own Adventure. It's from Steve Jackson Games, of all things. I want to say it's called Sorcery or something like that. Has it shown up on your phone? Maybe it's shown up on my phone. I put it on the iPad, but let's see here. I might have, no, yeah, they're called Sorcery. Sorcery, Sorcery 2, Sorcery 3, Sorcery 4. They're kind of like choose your own adventure stories, but there are also some fighting and stuff involved in them. It's really, really good. I really like them. Or they'll realize how much tolerable 6 weeks of brutal winter is than 8 months of brutal summer. Where are you that you only have 6 weeks of brutal winter? But no, I don't consider the summer in Florida to be brutal. I think Florida is an amazing place. I love it. I love it. I love it. And you know what else I found? I found that no matter where I live, it seems like everyone hates it. I never really understood that. Like, so summer is a lot of heat, right? But also, you never have to put a coat on. You never have to do anything. You just walk outside. There's pools everywhere. Air conditioning here is phenomenal. If I moved up north and I'd be away from Florida, I think I would be like, well, but it's not all the time. We get different seasons. We get to see the leaves change color. That's pretty cool. And it's cold, but they know how to deal with the snow here. Or it rains all the time, but you know, at least we don't have to worry about droughts. You know what I mean? I figure that wherever you can be happy. I like to brag about Florida's weather and rag on other places, but if I was somewhere else, life would go on there, right? I mean, I've been in places where it's been different weather, and it's always kind of amazing to me how people just complain and get upset about the weather wherever they are. I'm not always happy with the weather. Sometimes it rains for like 8 days in a row, and you're like, all right, it can stop raining now, right? And I get that, but people always seem to think that it's better somewhere else. And I know when I say this, there's going to be a bunch of people who will do comments, no, I live in such place, and I think it's wonderful here. Well, that's fantastic. But I think you can adjust to live wherever, unless it's like the moon or Mars or something. I think we could adjust to live anywhere. And the constant put-downs of different places, like, for example, earlier in here, people are like, oh, the driving in Florida is crazy and this and that. I like Florida a lot. I had someone one time, like, I heard that there was all these crazy people in Florida. Sure, there's crazy people in Florida, but there's crazy people everywhere. And I found that in my community here, it's a really wonderful and nice community. I found that, you know, that I have nice neighbors. I have a great church that I go to. It's beautiful every day. When I get up here, it's fantastic. And if I went somewhere else, I would see the same thing there. And so I don't get too caught up in that sort of thing. What's worse and what's better. So that's that. Okay. A goal was Sam's, I think. Yeah, I think that was Sam's fake game for sure. Will Melody come to the UK Games Expo in Essen next year? No, Melody will be going to college. I think that's more important than going to UK Games Expo or Essen. Woo! He said, boo. You'd rather go to those in college? Yeah, me too. So let's see here. Not much time left. So let's go through a couple things left over. Are you doing something together as Dice Tower on Christmas, like Thanksgiving? Maybe. We'll see. I haven't decided what's going on Christmas Day yet itself. Did I play Side Rail Confluence on the cruise? Yes, I did. It was very enjoyable. Any chance we'll get more patchwork content? I don't really understand that. Yeah, Jason did a joke in the Dice Tower Awards where he had the winner was La La Land. That was pretty funny. Just to know for my honeymoon, when's hurricane season in Florida? Hurricane season's like, I don't know, 7 months long. It's really long. You can't plan around a hurricane. You don't know when hurricanes are coming. You don't know when anything's coming. We don't know when the fires are coming in California. We don't know when the snowstorms are coming up north. You get warning over these things. There's tough things about every place, right? But I'm getting super serious now. I gotta like find a funny question. All right. Do we participate in the board game Secret Santa? No, I have in the past. Sometimes as a give-only person, but I don't normally because I don't really need more games. I think at this point in time. Could you do a sitcom type show? No, I don't necessarily want to do scripted stuff. Scripted is not really where we're at. I mean, we might do some of that stuff as a skit here and there, but other people have done that much better. Bored to Life did a whole long season and stuff on it. Shut Up and Sit Down, and most of the reviews are kind of like that. I think what we do now, I'm pretty happy with how that works. You know what? It's noon. So I got to get some more stuff reviewed. I got to eat lunch. And just get ready. There might be something live later on today, so keep an eye on our channel. If there is, we'll post it. It depends on how long it takes me to do these different things that are going on. And that's pretty much it. So until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching live Q&A on the Dice Tower. See you next time. All right, now listen. I said I'd give your hand back if you behaved. And you were good that whole time. I didn't hear anything out of you. I don't like treating you like this, okay? I want you to be one of the guys. But your antics, they're really uncalled for. Let me put your hand back in. All right, first of all, look at me when I'm talking to you. First of all, oh my goodness, in the eyes. I can get right in your eyes. Now, first of all, yeah, I know you're ashamed, and I know you don't want to say anything right now. But anyhow, first of all, the dude, I know you were here first, and he's new. And so you think we like him because he's new, we like him better than you. But that is no excuse to de-inflate him, ever. And filling him up with the helium, that was really bad. And when we're done here, I'm going to see you apologize to him. You're also going to have to write down 100 times, I will be nice to the dude. And you're lucky he doesn't have a longer name. Secondly, I seen what you've been doing to Sam's desk when he's not around. Knock it off. He yelled at me about it, and it was definitely you. It was not the dude, because me and the dude were at the water park that day. And again, I know you think we were at the water park because I like him better, but he hasn't been to the water park yet, and he didn't do anything that made me want to punish him. Thirdly, you definitely have been cheating in board games lately. There's no way you could have won those last 2 games. No way. And I record them. So I went back and watched the tapes, and it's just not possible. So I'm not going to deal with this, okay? So this is what we're putting into place. First of all, you're banned from playing board games for a week. I want a better attitude from you. Secondly, you're going to treat the dude like a member of the family, just like I told you to. Thirdly, leave Sam alone. Especially with the way you're trying to get... I can't even look at you right now because I'm so disappointed. All right. Look. I'll let you wear my hat for a while, okay? This will be okay. We can make it through these things, all right? So we'll talk about this later. You're still the first guy. Just remember that. We're all working together as a team.